Hello. I'm so glad that you came tonight. I wanted to talk to you. Me, I'm just an innkeeper. Nothing more than that, just an innkeeper. Actually, my inn is my home. Nothing fancy at all. Just a few rooms with straw on the floor to offer a little comfort for the passers-by that need a place to stay, a place to eat. Probably nothing like what you're used to. No turn-down service here, no mints on the pillows. Just a very simple place for people to stop and stay. And that's my trade. I'm an innkeeper. That's what I do. My family works with me, helps me. Got a stable out back to put the pack animals in. And this is the way we live. But I wanted to tell you about something that happened just a few days ago. Had some passers-by that stopped to stay the night. They were coming from Jerusalem. Those people that call themselves Christ followers, Christians. I don't like them. They've caused so much trouble here in our land, so much dissension. They said that their leader, a guy named Jesus, had been crucified. But they believed that on the 3 days after he had been crucified, that he rose from the dead. I hadn't seen nobody rise from the dead. But they said he was the Messiah, the promised one, the chosen one God was sending. Don't think so. I mean, why would they crucify the Messiah? They were sitting at a table eating, and I was kind of listening to their conversation as they were talking, and they just kept on talking about this Jesus, the Christ, they called him. About miracles he had performed, they'd seen and witnessed. Said that he had made blind people see, lame people walk, cured leprosy. Said he even cast demons out of people. They said he even raised people from the dead. Then he raised himself. But I was listening, what really caught my eye, they said that he was the promised one, the chosen one, and that he'd been born, of all places, here in Bethlehem. I don't think so. I mean, Bethlehem is not exactly a big city. We're just barely a spot here in this barren land. And I think if the Messiah had been born here, we'd have known about it. I mean, there ain't no signs out on the road coming in and say Bethlehem, home of the Messiah. We don't have that. But you know, they just kept on talking. And they mentioned something about the night that he was born, about shepherds coming in from the hills and coming into town and singing, "Glory to God in the highest. Hark the herald." Said they saw angels singing in the sky. You know, me and some of my friends talked about remembering something like that happening a long time ago, 30 years plus ago. But one night the shepherds coming into town. That was strange, because, you know, shepherds, first of all, they're peculiar people, you know. They stay out in the hills with the sheep. Heck, they couldn't have been coming in to buy supplies. Stores are closed. They wouldn't do that at night, no way. They're peculiar. Man, you can smell them coming. I mean, they eat with the sheep, sleep with the sheep. They just about become sheep. But it was peculiar they mentioned that, because we've talked about that from time to time. Them coming into town singing. Wonder what it took to get them to leave their sheep. They also said something about a star. Said there was a special star that hung in the sky. And I did remember that star. I didn't think too much about it, though. I mean, I'm just an innkeeper. I keep up with the things I have to around here. I'm no astrologer or nothing else like that. There's enough things I don't need to know about. But there was that star. It was so bright. We all thought it peculiar. Anyhow, they kept on talking, though, about their Jesus being born here in Bethlehem. And they said that, they said something about wise men, magi, very learned scholars from way in the east had come into Bethlehem to honor this baby, this child, and bring him gifts and all. And then again, my old memory started to go back, and I remember something being said. What was peculiar about these wise men was that they came in the day and they left under cover of darkness. We never did quite understand that, but I began to converse with these guys a little bit, and I said, I do remember something about that star. I remember those wise men that, or whatever they were, that came, but we thought it was really strange that they left suddenly, and they went from a different direction than what they'd come. These guys said they knew the reason. They said that Herod had told them when they found this baby to come back and tell him where it was, because he wanted to come and worship the baby too. But they said that the wise men knew that what was going to happen was that Herod wanted to kill that baby. You know, it was just not long after that that Herod sent his soldiers into Bethlehem, and he killed all of our young children. All the young boys were killed. That madman killed my son. I hate Herod. I was captivated by these people. I was trying to figure out what was it that was tugging so hard at me. Why was I so enthralled with this? I mean, these were just things that had happened. I mean, yeah, the shepherds, that was odd, but so were shepherds. But then that star, those wise men, so they brought him expensive gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. I mean, a baby born in Bethlehem. That's, I don't know. But Herod, boy, I remember that. That was such a horrible, horrible time. horrible. They began to talk to me, and they could see that I was upset. And I don't know, I was shaking. There was something in their story that was just tugging at me such a hard way. One of them reached out and he took me by the hand. And he says, let me tell you how it all began. And he began, I can hear his voice now, he began to read from our scriptures.
Nevertheless, there will be no more gloom for those who were in distress. In the past he humbled the land of Zebulun and the land of Nephi, but in the future he will honor Galilee of the Gentiles by the way of the sea along the Jordan. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. You have enlarged the nation and increased their joy. They rejoice before you as people rejoice at the harvest, as men rejoice when dividing the plunder. For as in the day of Midian's defeat, you have shattered the yoke that burdens them, the bar across their shoulders, the rod of their oppressor. Every warrior's boot used in battle and every garment rolled in blood will be destined for burning, will be fuel for the fire. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders. And he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this.
I couldn't help myself. I began to cry, and I thought, oh, what is this? Why is all of this hitting me so hard? What are they talking about? And then I began to realize something. I remembered now. They said that the baby's parents had come and brought him into Bethlehem. It was during the time and the reign of the governor Cyrenius, and all the people had been called to come to their own towns to pay their taxes and to register for the census. And I remembered then that I had been so busy trying to get everything ready. I knew that all the people would be coming, and I knew I was going to need every space I had. I was so busy trying to get everything ready for that. And the guests all came, and the house was full of people. And there was a knock on the door. And I remember going to the door late in the night, and there was this man and this young woman. I remember she was so pregnant. And I had no place for her. I had no place. The man just stood there and he said, please, sir, my wife is about to have a child. The child is coming now. And I said, I don't have any room. I don't. He says, is there anywhere that you can give me shelter? And I said, I felt so sorry for them. I said, all I've got are the stables. I've got clean hay, and I've got the stables. And I took them to the stable. And the baby was born. It all comes back now. That's the night that the shepherds came into town. They all came. They were singing. It happened right here in Bethlehem, and I missed it. The Messiah was born right here. And I didn't have time. I didn't have time for him. I didn't have room for him. I didn't have a place for him. The Son of God, the Holy One, the Messiah, the Prince of Peace, was born right here in my stable. And had didn't have room. Christ had come. And you see, that's what I want to talk to you about. I've watched you. I've seen you all coming and going, singing the Christmas carols all playing, buying your gifts, decorating your homes, preparing the food for all the gatherings and the parties and the family that's coming, and all the hustle and the bustle.